Well, Democratic Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman may be the new brand that Democrats desperately need. Here he is on The View after he was accused of, quote, cozying up Trump.
There are those on the left who feel like you have made a rightward shift recently, going to Mar-a-Lago, joining Truth Social, your positions on issues like immigration, fracking. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman was the first Democratic senator to visit Mar-a-Lago, and he says he's committed to working alongside Republicans, but can he find a middle ground?
John Fetterman just did what almost no guest on The View has ever done. He walked into their studio, took on their toughest questions, and walked away completely unscathed. But the same can't be said for The View's hosts. What started as a routine interview quickly turned into an absolute disaster when co-host Sunny Hostin tried to corner Fetterman with accusations. She was clearly expecting him to backtrack, stumble, or even apologize, but instead, something incredible happened. Fetterman didn't just hold his ground. He calmly, methodically, and hilariously dismantled every attack thrown at him. And within minutes, Sunny Hostin was so flustered and embarrassed, she stormed off the set in front of a live audience. But the real damage didn't come until after the cameras cut. Producers were scrambling to contain the backlash, insiders claim Whoopi and Joy were furious, and ABC executives are now questioning the show's future. So, what really happened? Let's break it all down.
Not a liberal or a conservative. I'm curious what your takeaway was from meeting with him, and what, if you found that there's any specific policy areas you think you can work with him on?
Yeah, well, I think overall it was a positive experience. I mean, he was kind, he was cordial. It wasn't in any kind of theater. It wasn't trying to get your picture taken to kind of put something out on social media. It was just really a conversation. I actually spoke for over an hour. And overall, my wife was there, and she might be watching right now at home. Hi, Giselle, if you're home. And she was there as well, too. And we just had a conversation. And one of the things can we agree on? Well, one of the things that was easy, like the Dreamers, the Dreamers, immigration, that. And Giselle was part of that community, and we both had the opportunity to express that. I would also, I'm on the Ag Committee, and I think protecting the SNAP as well, too. Food insecurity is really important issue. And some people on that side wants to go after that or weaponize that. So for me, those are kind of issues, other things that we can agree on as well. But
the interview started just like any other. Fetterman was invited onto The View to discuss his recent political moves, including his surprising decision to visit Mar-a-Lago and his unfiltered opinions on current events. From the very first question, it was clear the hosts were on the attack. Sunny Hostin wasted no time, immediately calling out Fetterman for what she called a sudden shift in political views. She questioned his recent statements, accused him of changing sides, and even suggested he was cozying up to certain figures for personal gain. You could tell by the tone in her voice, she wasn't just asking questions. She wanted a gotcha moment. And usually, that works. Most politicians who appear on The View end up playing defense, stammering, or backtracking when the pressure turns up. But not this time. Fetterman didn't flinch. He didn't stumble. Instead, he smirked, leaned back in his chair, and delivered a one-liner that instantly shifted the energy in the room. You don't have to like someone to be fair about reality. That's called being an adult. The audience gasped. The camera cut to Sunny, and for the first time ever, she looked genuinely caught off guard.
I mean, honestly, I haven't been surprised by anything now. I mean, he's been doing essentially what he actually campaigned on that. Mm-hmm. He announced he is going to pardon the J6 individuals. He is going to absolutely go after the border. So there's a lot of things that he's already ran on. I mean, criticized a lot of it, and I don't agree with everything either, but it's undeniable he actually ran on that and been really upfront. He's like, I am your reputation, and is, kind of making those moves. So that's kind of where we're at. Early on, immediately after the election, I was like, hey, we have a choice. We can freak out and follow every other thing around, like a cat, with a laser, after everyone. But I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be that Democrat. For me, there's things I'm going to agree with, I'm going to disagree with, but I'm in the business of finding wins for Pennsylvania and for the nation, and engaging the president. I think I see that as doing my job.
So you went down to Mar-a-Lago and met with the president.
And he actually was singing your praises after. He said you were fascinating, impressive, a common sense person. I agree with him on that.
After Fetterman's perfectly timed comeback, Sunny tried to regain control of the conversation. She interrupted. She repeated her accusations. She even tried changing the subject. But Fetterman wasn't playing her game. Instead of getting flustered, he kept his composure and responded with cold, hard facts, each one undermining her argument more and more. And then, he hit her with the final blow. Sunny, I get it. You like to tell people what they're supposed to think. But the problem is, reality doesn't work that way. The audience was dead silent. The usual View crowd, known for cheering on every spicy remark, had nothing to say. Even Whoopi and Joy, who usually jump in to rescue their co-hosts, looked hesitant to speak. And Sunny? Her face turned red, her eyes darted around the room, and suddenly, without saying a word, she stood up, grabbed her cue cards, and stormed off the set. The second Sunny walked off, the View's production team panicked. The cameras immediately cut to commercial. Producers rushed onto the stage to figure out what had just happened. And behind the scenes, it was absolute chaos. According to insiders, Whoopi and Joy were not happy. They were overheard backstage, frustrated that Sunny had made them all look weak. One source even claimed Joy Behar pulled a producer aside and complained that Sunny had completely overreacted and made the show look bad. Meanwhile, Sunny herself? She was reportedly livid, blaming the producers for not stepping in to help her and calling Fetterman's comments disrespectful and out of line. But that wasn't the worst part. Because while The View was busy doing damage control, the internet was already having a field day. Within minutes of the episode airing, the internet went into full-blown meltdown mode. Clips of the exchange spread like wildfire, racking up millions of views across Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. The reaction? Brutal. Comment sections were flooded with people calling it one of The View's most humiliating moments ever. Even those who usually defend the show struggled to justify what had happened. Some of the top comments? I've never seen someone on The View get shut down so fast. Fetterman didn't even break a sweat. Sunny walked in thinking she had the upper hand and left with her career in shambles. The View finally got exposed for what it really is, a scripted echo chamber that falls apart when challenged. And then came the memes. Users remixed clips of Sunny's dramatic exit, setting it to dramatic music, slow motion effects, and even cartoon sound effects. One viral post even compared her walk-off to a WWE wrestler leaving the ring after losing a match. Even some mainstream media outlets couldn't ignore it. Headlines started popping up about Sunny's embarrassing reaction, with several articles questioning whether The View had finally lost control of its own narrative. But while the internet was having a field day, The View's producers, co-hosts, and network executives were panicking behind the scenes. By now, The View's hosts were scrambling, but the damage wasn't just about one viral moment. This controversy hit deeper than usual. For years, The View has been criticized for being a one-sided echo chamber, where guests are either forced to agree or attacked until they cave. But Fetterman didn't cave. He stood his ground, refused to be bullied, and completely turned the tables, revealing exactly what happens when the show's scripted narrative gets challenged. The fallout was immediate. ABC executives were furious. Insiders claim network higher-ups were already frustrated with The View's constant controversies, and this latest meltdown only added fuel to the fire. Talk of a panel shakeup. There are already rumors swirling about possible changes to the co-host lineup, with executives reconsidering whether some personalities, including Sunny, are helping or hurting the show. Declining ratings just got worse. The View's ratings have already been slipping, and now, more viewers than ever are tuning out, seeing the show as nothing more than a daytime drama, not a real discussion platform. But the biggest problem? This disaster isn't going away. Social media won't stop talking about it, and every time a clip resurfaces, it's another reminder of The View's worst nightmare, a guest who refused to play along and exposed them for what they really are. And that begs the real question. Is The View finally falling apart for good? At this point, it's hard to ignore the facts. The View failed spectacularly in its attempt to control the conversation. Sunny walked into an argument she thought she could win, only to walk out in embarrassment. ABC is scrambling to control the fallout, but the damage might already be done. So what happens next? Could we see major changes coming to The View? Or will they double down and try to spin this disaster into another rating stunt? What do you think? Did Sunny Hostin just ruin The View's reputation for good? Drop a comment below and let us know. And if you love watching the meltdowns unfold in real time, make sure to subscribe, because trust me, this isn't the last time The View goes off the rails.